Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce the Aileen Creighton Award for Teaching Excellence. This is the highest honor that our faculty receive here at Del Mar College. The award honors faculty members who demonstrate exceptional commitment to learning, innovation, instruction, and continuous professional growth. We recognize three key areas. First, student learning and impact. Recipients demonstrate a genuine passion for teaching and student success. Second, instruction and assessment. Recipients uphold the highest ethical standards in teaching while designing and delivering engaging, innovative, and scholarly learning experiences. And third, professional growth and development. Award recipients demonstrate mastery of their discipline and remain current in their field. The selection process is highly competitive and begins with nominations from colleagues or supervisors. Candidates are evaluated through a multi-stage review process that includes divisional selection and a final review by the Aileen Creighton Award for Teaching Excellence Committee, which then recommends the recipient to the president of the college. Today we celebrate not only excellence in teaching, but also the profound effect that these dedicated faculty have on student success, their lives, and growth. We have faculty in our audience today who are past recipients of the award. Mark Robbins, Dr. Mark Robbins, Mike Jones, Bob Long, Sarah Contreras, Brian Hart, Richard Root, Dr. Brian Stone, and Eldafino Palacios. Please join me in recognizing the extraordinary achievements and contributions of these individuals. Can you please give them a round of applause? Could our previous recipients please stand so some of the new people know who you are? Because I think you can be great mentors for our new faculty. Thank you. Now I would like to give you Dr. Mark Robbins, last year's recipient, to introduce this year's awardee, followed by a video unveiling this year's recipient. Mark?
And thank you, Dr. Halcomb, for that introduction. I have the honor of presenting this year's recipient of the Dr. Aileen Creighton Award for Teaching Excellence. This award, named after a revered educator who served her students, the college, and community for many decades, recognizes a distinguished faculty member for teaching excellence. Dr. Creighton was a librarian, English professor, chair, and dean whose association with the college spans more than half of its entire history. And this award, named after her, is considered the highest teaching award at Del Mar College. Now, before I describe the recipient, as has been done in previous years, I want to mention that I will avoid using terms that could indicate the recipient's identity, their discipline, or their gender. In place of more specific words, I'll say they or this professor when describing their accomplishments. That way I don't spoil it before the reveal. Similar to Dr. Creighton, this colleague has been an exceptional steward of the college and community over a long career at Del Mar College. Over the years, this professor has guided students in the classroom at conferences where they have won many awards, and through numerous hands-on learning opportunities throughout the Coastal Bend. This professor's impact on student learning can be seen extensively in the roles that these former students have taken in the community. They are the leading voices who inform us about pressing issues in the community and help us to think critically about them. They have been taught by this professor to have a passion for inquiry, to make ethical decisions, and to value and promote the freedoms that we have in a democratic society. These former students connect their meaningful work to the direct mentorship of this professor. They wrote that this professor, quote, challenged students to think independently, supported them as individuals, and invested in their success. And that this professor gave them, quote, the freedom to experiment and get creative, and that this professor actually listened. They knew what the students in class were chasing and never once made anyone feel like their goals were too big or too far out of reach. Noting the supportive and inquisitive learning environment created by this professor, one student reflected, quote, every day I'd get to write and learn and fail and get better because this professor was always there to help us. Sometimes we'd all end up there for hours after class talking about stories, philosophy, psychology, and whatever else came up at the time. This is precisely the kind of learning community that we all aspire to create as professors, and I can attest to seeing it every time I've worked with this professor and every time their students have been in my classes. These students come not only to this professor's classes, but their other classes, including my own, eager to learn, inquire, and collaborate because that is what they have done under the mentorship of this professor. I'm not alone in this assessment. One colleague noted that one of this professor's most notable strengths is their dedication to supporting students beyond the boundaries of their own discipline, and that this professor, quote, understands that teaching excellence extends beyond delivering content. It involves mentoring, supporting, and inspiring students to achieve their full potential. Another colleague described this professor as, quote, an outstanding educator, and observed that this professor, quote, is well respected and trusted by their students, and it is clear that this professor deeply cares for their profession and for the welfare and education of their students. I observed this professor's students exhibiting a desire to keep the class going and hesitant to leave at the end of this session. I would love to list the specific accomplishments of this professor's students, and they are prominent and extensive, but that would give away their identity before the reveal. So I summarize it with this student's words, quote, great professors do not just deliver lessons, they leave something behind. Every piece of feedback I received was honest, encouraging, and pushed me further than I thought I could go. That has never left me. It never will. This professor will never fully know the depth of the impact that they have had on my life. But I hope that one day, when this professor looks out at everything their students have become, this professor understands that every dream we are living, every barrier we push through, and every moment we chose to keep going, even when it was hard, had this professor's name written all over it. And now we get to learn that name.
I love the fact that what adds a little bit of meaning to it to me is the fact that it's named after Aileen Creighton, who had my job in 1941 to 1945. She was the advisor for the yearbook and the foghorn very early in the days of the college, and I thought that was a wonderful part of it as well. Kind of leans back on the importance of teaching, of writing. I have always considered myself a social promotion success story. I did not so much graduate from high school back in 1990, I was released. A very small school in a Midwestern town. And when I decided I was post-military, post a couple years of just traveling, decided I want to get an education, I came to Del Mar first. And when I came here, I really understood and learned how to be a student for the first time. So I was 24. I'd be remiss if I didn't start with Dr. Manuel Flores, who has been a mentor and friend of mine for 30 years now. I walked into the foghorn office and I said, hey, I know how to take pictures. And there was an assortment of people there, one of them, of course, being Manuel Flores, who was like, yeah, here, give me a camera and send me out. Go shoot this. This is no questions, no portfolio, just go do. And that automatically made me engaged with the paper, which probably did more for my education in the first 2 years than anything else, because I became a part of this community. The main thing I try to impart to my students is intellectual honesty and drive that curiosity. I think it's vital for students to walk away from learning about this is accountability for their work. Standing behind their name and publication, whether it be through social media or otherwise. Your name's in that publication. This is for the students and myself. You're accountable for the work that's produced. So if you're lazy about it, if you approach it in a way that's not professional and thorough, There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be issues in there. I mean, I've had enough headline busts to to make you want to curl up and cry on a Monday morning when the paper comes out in print. We have done exceptionally well as far as awards, nationally, state-wise. So I can boost that up and be as proud as anybody that those awards are coming out. But you know what? When Headline Bus comes out too, I own that as well. That's ours. The most fulfilling part for me many times is check out somebody's LinkedIn, go look up their name and see where they're at. You find out how these students have flourished, whether it be in journalism or communications or wherever they happen to go. And that's just one of the most beautiful parts of doing it. I couldn't imagine a better way of spending the last 20 years of my life. And I couldn't imagine a job I would rather do. And I didn't find this job because I was looking for it. I found this job because I was open to opportunities, open-minded, and I worked around great people and kept in contact with great people. And I can't think of a college I would rather work at than this one.
There he comes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike Bratton and Rob Perez, for putting together a very nice 2.5-minute video out of 45 minutes of rambling, incoherent answers that I gave them, so I do truly appreciate it. And also, even though I've been working here for about 20 years, or actually a little over 2 decades, many of you still might only know me as Lisa's brother, so that's definitely, I'm Robert Muilenburg, advisor for the Fallbrook Journalism Professor. I am incredibly grateful to receive this honor. I've had the pleasure of sitting where y'all do, watching many deserving, qualified professors who have received it over the last 20 years, and I'm very proud to be able to be a part of that. I want to first thank my wife, Natalia. So Natalia, she is here with my mother-in-law, Luz. Thank you so much for being here. Not just for being a very talented journalist who covers election issues for the state of Texas, but being an outstanding copy editor. If she had not been helping me along, I'm not sure exactly what my application for this award would have looked like. So she has always been, it's good to marry somebody who can copy edit you. I want to thank Rachel Geneshy for nominating me for this. I appreciate it. Rachel's been a dear friend for years, and I've been fortunate that she's been a coworker now and a fellow faculty member at Del Mar for the past 5 years. And she has brought an amount of energy and ideas to the communications program that I'm just extremely grateful for, so thank you. And Allison Ehrlich, who is also working with me there, I appreciate you a great deal. The Del Mar College community means a lot to me. Even though I grew up 1,200 miles from here on a small farm in South Dakota, you saw a picture of the school. I will tell you now that they have added to that school since then, so that was an old picture. Me and all 4 of my sisters, my daughter, and one of my brother-in-laws have all graduated from Del Mar. We all arrived here at different stages in our lives, and this college provided us an opportunity to get an education that has proven invaluable over the years. I see it in my daughter Sam, who was not able to be here. She started a new teaching job in San Antonio. I'm extremely proud of her. She's teaching high school now. And she went through the collegiate high school program and finished with her associates and finished her bachelor's much younger than I ever did, so she's doing quite well. I believe the true hope, and it's a basic sense, and I do believe that all of us pretty much have this, but any hope our society has is to have accessible, as to have good access to quality higher education, and Del Mar has provided that for almost a century. And I'm just really proud to have been a part of that for the last 20 years. When I started at Del Mar, I'd been away from formal education for 5 years. I had spent a few years in the Army, and then I spent a few years as aimless wandering from Montana to South Texas. However, I did start the college with one huge benefit. I had 4 sisters, older sisters, Leah, Lisa, Lynette, and Lainey. I was supposed to be named Lance. I think my dad was drunk when he filled out the birth certificate. It was South Dakota in the 70s, so it was okay. Anyway, I was able to complete my associate's degree because of the support and the help, both financial and emotional, of my sisters, and academic. At the time, I also had the very good fortune of walking to the Foghorn office my very first semester. I had learned photography when I was in the military, and so it made sense to me to go maybe see if they needed some help on the paper. And this is where I met Dr. Manuel Flores. He taught me journalism and advised the Foghorn. He taught journalism and advised the Foghorn for 16 years prior to taking a position at A&M Kingsville. Flores had shown me that patience and understanding could mix with hard work and high standards. As a non-traditional student at the time, his approach to teaching and mentorship was really kind of what I needed at that moment. And he was one of the greatest factors in me actually teaching today. He brought an energy to the classroom that I found very engaging, and I've been trying to emulate him ever since. Flores actually gave me my first opportunity to teach and helped guide me to the profession, and for that I'm going to be forever grateful. Being the Foghorn advisor for the past 20 years has been the most meaningful, frustrating, joyful, aggravating, enlightening, tiring, and wonderful parts of my job. I still start each semester with a great deal of optimism. It has turned into cautious optimism, but it's optimism nonetheless. And the optimism comes from the knowledge that our student journalists have the support of an administration that has clearly proven they believe and stand behind the First Amendment rights of their student journalists. That kind of support, unfortunately, is quite an anomaly in college journalism, unfortunately today, but not at Del Mar. That's why I must take a moment to emphasize my great appreciation for President Escamilla and his administration. Thank you. I also a special thank you to Augie Rivera, Del Mar College General Counsel. He has not only supported student journalism by making himself available to answer questions or speak to students, but also showing his supports when, say, maybe your student journalist put out an article that some people find distasteful. Some people may know what that is. I definitely won't dive into it. But knowing you have that support is just a foundation. It's a comfort. And it's hard to understand what exactly is going on at other colleges when it comes to student media outlets and student voices. There are many students who find their path to journalism and public relations fields through the Foghorn. And I will admit the public relations is often a much more enticing path. I'm very proud of the Foghorn alumni that are working throughout Corpus Christi, Texas, and the country. I should be better with my pages, sorry. However, one of the things I tell students who want to be journalists is, you will not make much money in the beginning, and if you're doing your job as you should be, a lot of people will hate you. It's the students that understand what I mean with that less than effective sales pitch that thrive in the position. They're driven with the need to know what's happening in their community, their path to a career in journalism. Their path to a career in journalism really does understand that it starts at the Foghorn by continuing our tradition of to be a reliable local news source. For example, just this past spring, Foghorn students had covered the water crisis, multiple immigration protests, presidential visits, and they were the only news outlet to thoroughly cover the Corpus Christi high school student protests and walkouts. Graduates find there are still people looking for dedicated journalists. They find journalism jobs and thrive, even if those positions don't look like they did 20 or 30 years ago. One thing I can do is help inspire students who are wanting to be journalists is to show them where our Foghorn alumni are today. Many alumni are working on local TV, radio, newspaper, those things. But they're also working it throughout the state and the country. We currently have alumni working for the Texas Standard, NPR, Oregon Public Radio, Vote Beat, Texas Tribune, CNN. We have alumni who have had their reporting featured nationally in programs such as This American Life, and we've had multiple Pulitzer Prize nominees and winners. Some may look at the current landscape of our news industry and find it a bit bleak. It is true that many of our traditional news outlets that were successful through a form of advertising that no longer exists have become consolidated by huge private equity firms that are still stripping them down and squeezing them of every resource available for profit. But there are still a great number of journalists who are doing outstanding work despite those personnel cuts to personnel and resources. Thank you. I would argue there's still great resources for quality, reputable, professional journalism available. We just must look a little harder and be a little more discerning. I had named be discerning, not just the outlets I had named previously, but many new and emerging community news operations. Local journalists will never cease to keep their communities informed. As news deserts become more common, local journalists continue to take it upon themselves to find solutions and new mediums to produce their work. Texas journalists went on to create publicly funded online news outlets such as Texas Tribune, Fort Worth Report, and the El Paso Matters, just to name a few. It is up to us not to just support news we like, but news we trust, because the journalists' commitment to accountability and truth. Support those journalists and those newsrooms, because when you do, you will be supporting Mar College alumni. Thank you.
Good morning. Robert and I have a few years behind us together, and learning the importance of the First Amendment was, I must admit, both an honor and a challenge through some difficult times, through some things that the Foghorn students and administration and their entire college went through together. It's been an honor to work side by side with Robert, Lisa's little brother. Good morning, Vikings. How about a big let's get it going. Let's get it going. How about a big round of applause? Before I get started, I have a question for you. Our research office nor our Patricia's office and admissions office cannot answer this question. But I have a question for y'all, and I have prizes this morning. All right. I only have a chance to answer. I only get 2 shots at this, maybe 3. No, I only have 2 according to the script. So, I want to know, how many students do we serve at Del Mar College? First hand up. 12,000. Keep going. 20,000? Any other? I'll take one more. Okay. Beverly. 100,000? We're going to need a bigger boat, Madam Chair. Get it? Vikings, boat? Boat? Get it. Okay, back there. Keep going. What'd you say? Close enough. Hold on, Joyce, calm down. Calm down, Joyce. I got something special for you, Joyce. I promise. Sit down. Go ahead. Just for being Joyce, we have a prize. We have a special Joyce prize, I promise. The answer is 22,000. 22,000. 22,000 precious souls, like I like to say. And every one of them is the reason why we're here today. And good barbecue, I might add. I want everybody to know that because of those 22,000 people that we serve, yeah, we have 11,000 on the credit side. We have as many on the short-term and the continuing ed side as well. And we value, yeah, there you go, Rachel. And I want to kick off again this fall with saying that every one of those belongs to a family that lives out amongst us and even with us, right? I've got a new Del Mar Viking. My little Lucas is a Viking this fall as a freshman. So he's following his big brothers. But amongst those 22,000 families, why we're here every day, what we're doing every day is about them. It's not just, and as important as it is for those 22,000 individuals, they come from families. And it's a big, broad, expansive group that we're serving. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But before I go any further, I want to recognize the members of the Board of Regents who are here joining us today. And I'm going to ask them to stand individually, starting with our chair of the board, Ms. Carol Scott. Regent Rudy Garza, Jr. Regent David Loeb. Regent Dr. Anantha Babali. Ladies and gentlemen, it reminds me, this group has regents who I report to. I have 9 publicly elected bosses, and I talk about them every chance I can because they have done amazing work, very quietly, very under the radar, so to speak, to make sure that we have everything that we need so that we can serve those 22,000 precious souls. And just like I pride myself with being quiet and not always being in the front and staying behind and under the V, if you will, we'll share that later, behind the scenes with you all, they stay behind, even behind me. And they let me do things that are incredible so that I can serve you all and so that you all can serve those 22,000 students. Convocation is always one of my favorite ceremonies because it gives me an opportunity to pause and recognize the people that I appreciate, and that's you. The people in this room are making an extraordinary impact on the students we serve. Before they ever walk into the classroom, students are already encountering us. Students are already encountering all of us, including faculty, staff, advisors, administrators, and support teams. And you know how it is to go to the grocery store. You dare wear a Del Mar badge or just who you are, you're inevitably going to be stopped. But every employee interaction matters, and that's what you all get. Because you know that stopping in that milk aisle, when that student is sitting there and just scratching his or her head saying, what do? I want to go to college. You take that time. So today I want to begin with a simple message of thanks. Thanks for rising to the occasion, for believing in our students and Del Mar College. Thank you for proving every single day that when people come together around a shared purpose, remarkable things happen. We're witnessing a bold new era at Del Mar College. What makes this moment special is that more people than ever before can see themselves at Del Mar College. Again, keep that number, 22,000, in your mind. Working adults are coming back to finish what they started. First-generation students are finding a pathway to a future they may have never, ever imagined. Families are seeing Del Mar College as the place to be where opportunity is real and success is not just attainable, but it's right there at their fingertips. Across the coastal bend, students who once questioned whether college was for them are coming here knowing that they belong. And that just didn't happen by accident. It happened because the institution made a commitment that every student would be welcomed, valued, and supported, and because the people in this room will bring that commitment to their lives every day. Today, they experience a college where people, and in many decades past, they experience a college where people genuinely care about their success and well-being, their futures, and their families. You can feel that culture in our classrooms, offices, student spaces, community events. It has become who we are. Simply put, your heart is showing every day, and I feel it like I'm going to say never before in the community, because everywhere we go, there's a discussion about Del Mar College. Ask my wife. Students see it, again, families see it, and our community sees it. And because they see it, they trust us. They trust us with their aspirations and their futures. When I used to go to and share time with other families as a kid, my parents would tell whoever I was with, and usually they were compadres and stuff like that, te encargo a mi hijo. You know, I put you in charge of I entrust you with my son. And I would go to Laredo and hang out for the weekend out there with some families and friends, or wherever I would go. That's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. It's that level of trust. When you hand over your most precious of entities to someone else, that's what it's all about. So now, I just want to share with you, and I want us to all share. This is a little fun thing. We've recently commissioned the new hand sign for the college. It's called Helms Up. And I want everybody together to start practicing this because I want to see it all over. And for you Longhorns and you Aggies, stop for now. It's not about that, our Red Raiders and Bears and all that other stuff. This is about Helms Up. And I want us to practice. But every time you walk around, we want to start seeing these Helms Up. Everybody show me your Helms Up if you can. My arthritis doesn't let me too good, but anyway, Helms Up, everybody. How about it? Helms Up. All right, close enough, close enough. You got to care and you got to have helms. That's the message, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we know this responsibility doesn't stop, and as I've already alluded to, there's been many times where I'm walking around, but there's a story that I shared with the team, and they wanted me to share with you. The other day I was going to a conference, and bright and early, Uber driver picked me up, and poor guy didn't stand a chance. I'd already had 2 cups of coffee, and I was on my way to the national conference and so forth, but I think the long story is he's a Viking today, because nobody can go without being recruited. If you're anywhere around me, chances are I'm going to try to recruit you to come to the college, even if you're a postdoc. Who knows? You know, there's all kinds of opportunities. But again, I wanted to share that story of the young man who I took time to, because one of the things that he said, and it was the important thing, was he goes, no one's ever really stopped to ask. Nobody's really showed that they cared about my future. I had to fight myself through the military as an orphan, I might add. I mean, he came from a situation where he had no family behind him, and he goes, this is one of the rare times that anybody's ever cared. And I showed him enough. I gave him my card. I got his information. I shot it to Gracie on the spot, and now he's a Viking. It's a wonderful thing. But those are the kinds of things. But it takes the team, and I made the connection, and the team, thank you, Gracie, for taking all those texts at all odd hours of 7 days a week to save, again, those precious souls. But then when thousands of us are doing these kinds of things and bringing this sense of purpose to our work every day, it impacts the community like never before. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, I can even statistically prove it, that what you see across the coastal bend about Del Mar College is nothing but positive, and that's earned every day. Employers come to us when they need skilled workforce, and I'm saying the workforce is, raise your hand if you went to work today, you're in the workforce, okay? It's everybody who gets out there and goes and scratches out a living day by day. And partners across the region come to us with ideas so that we can work together, and that they feel strongly about being able to come back to us. They know that Del Mar College is going to show up. Those relationships are opening doors for our students, whether it's a school district, a hospital, a refinery, a retail store, and an online business. That impact of our work is happening here every day, and again, the employers are feeling it, and it's because of you all. We spend a lot of time talking about what it means to make college more accessible, and now we're seeing what happens when we actually do it. Freedom to dream is one of the clearest examples, and that is an example of the board getting behind some ideas that came from this college and politely and smartly got out of the way and let us move forward. This year's Freedom to Dream cohort stands at 885 students today and growing with a 93% enrolled full-time for fall. That's a big number. Those students who may have once wondered whether college was financially possible for them, well, guess what? Now they're here, and they've got a full load on their plate. And they're not the only ones. Most recently, at a one-stop Saturday, more than 600 people showed up. 600 students showed up, ready to register. That's the largest turnout we've ever had in a one-day registration period. Thank you for the staff for being here all day, bright and early till late in the afternoon, early evening. We're seeing it in programs that are reaching students earlier than ever. Our partnerships with local school districts have grown so much that we're expanding the way we recognize our dual credit students. In May, this past May, our continuing education healthcare programs held a pinning ceremony recognizing more than 635 students from 13 different school districts. Is that you, Rachel? That's the team. That was only 13 of the 58 school districts that we partner with. You hear what I'm saying? And we'll soon add ceremonies to accommodate the other 1,275 students from another 19 more school districts coming up. So stay tuned. The families absolutely love this opportunity. They get up there, and those kids that are walking across those stages are going to go to work the next day and going to go to university, going to go to the great universities in coming semesters. They're valedictorians and they're go-to-working students, if you know what I mean. That's a new term, going to work students. That's a new term. But you get my point. They're from all aspects of the graduating curriculum, and they're going off and doing wonderful things. So those ceremonies are coming. Then there's students who have made it all the way through the entire curriculum here, the 2-year curriculum and certificate programs. This spring, 1,250 students graduated. Listen to this, 1,250 students graduated from Del Mar College. That is the largest single graduating class in our history. And this growth isn't just limited to Corpus Christi. In Rockport, the Del Mar College Workforce Development Center in Aransas County is giving more people access to education and workforce training closer to where they live and work. That will be opening this fall. Think about, yes, how about a round of applause? Think about what all this means. More students are finding their way to Del Mar College. We're reaching them earlier, giving them more ways to get started, and more of them are making it all the way through graduation. That's not one program or one department. That's years of work across the college to remove barriers, build trust, and meet people where they are. In Vikings, it's adding up. Every enrollment gain represents a student who made the decision to take a chance on themselves to be entrusted to Del Mar College employees, and the people at Del Mar College who helped them get there are doing this on an increasing basis. That's where those numbers are coming from. This fall, we're approaching our biggest records with our preliminary enrollment currently today, this morning, tracking at 11,000 students. We still have another week to go. How about that? Woo! How about that? All right. Vikings, I'm almost done. I can't see y'all anymore, so I'm just going to assume y'all are still there. Everything we've talked about today, ladies and gentlemen, comes back to the people in this room. None of this happens by accident. It happens because you answer the questions, you solve the problems, you stay a little longer, you make the call, you encourage the student who isn't quite sure that they belong, and so forth. You show up. And right now, more people than ever are counting on us to keep showing up. Make that extra effort. So as we begin the new academic year, let's keep doing what brought us here, and let's keep finding the way to do it even better. I could not be prouder of what we've built together, and I'm excited about where we're going next. Thank you for what you do. And I'm going to finish, I got a little commercial after that, but I'm going to finish my comments with one more thing. You have to ask yourself, if not us, then who? That's what you have to keep asking yourself. So remember, one more time, helms up, everybody, and have a good year. Helms up. Woo! All right. That's better than bubbles. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. Appreciate you all more than we can say. Let's have a great fall.